Straight from what many people call the worst to what many people call the best. Hey everyone, it is me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And I've been talking for so long, I forgot appropriate grammar. And this is the continuation of our massive Marvel movie marathon in which we are looking at all the films leading up to Avengers Infinity War that we haven't already done.
Yeah.
By which I mean we're going all the way up until Ant-Man, and then after that I will just link you guys to all the reviews that we already did. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we are now talking about Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which so many people call the best Marvel film. It's in my top 3. But I gotta be honest with you, my top 3 are constantly just going back and forth.
Yeah, like, especially after like rewatching all these movies and like seeing how well or not well they've aged. Or
that's one of the incredible things about this film. Maybe it's because we watched it right after Thor 2: The Dark World. Or maybe it's also because all the other times we watched this in crowds that were happy to stand up and cheer and be like, woo, yeah, all right. And this time we watched it at home where we could really like diagnose it more, where it wasn't so much like an energetic environment, but more of like a critical environment. This was always one of my favorite films, and it's now gotten better. Like, man, this film is so much smarter and so insanely well shot.
It is.
This is one of the best shot films in Marvel's library. And I dig that, you know, this is also one of the first times in which Marvel was like, we're getting really different. Because up until this point, Marvel had tried some different stuff. But yeah, this is just a spy film. Like, this is just an espionage film, is what this entire movie is. It just happens to star Captain America in there. And I really dig that they decided to go that angle, and I think they absolutely nailed it in this.
It's definitely like a more like serious tone too.
Totally.
But it's like not in the DC way where everything is dark and angsty, but it's
like an actual real serious film.
Yeah, like discussing like serious issues that happen in the real world, not.
Yeah, like I said, this is our first time watching this not in a big crowd where everybody's like happy to be cheering and everything. And I remember this film being very funny, because I remember all the Marvel films being very funny. But when you're watching this at home, and there isn't just that crowd that's ready to laugh at everything, you realize, yes, there are jokes in here. But the serious things in this film are so much more serious. The serious things in this film are totally the vast majority of this film. The jokes are just in there to keep the audience from getting too overwhelmed, to keep the audience going on. You need to put in jokes here every now and again into these types of movies, because otherwise the audience just gets beaten down by the seriousness of it. And yeah, this film found like the perfect balance between that. Because I remember this film discussing serious topics before, but holy cow, like you watch it again and they're not like even making metaphors about this kind of stuff. Yeah, they are flat out saying like, yeah, listen, it's S.H.I.E.L.D, so that's something that doesn't exist in the real world. So we're amping up the levels of it a bit, but we're still talking about stuff that we all deal with, like stuff that's going on in the real world. That was incredible, the lengths they went to in this film with that stuff. I mean, you know, like Captain America's speech about this isn't freedom, this is fear.
Yeah.
I remember that, but I forgot like stuff like I keep wanting to call him Sam Jackson, which he is, but Nick Fury, when he's like, I read about you, the greatest generation. You did a whole lot of messed up stuff in there. I was like, holy cow, he's kind of like pointing this back on Cap. He's not going like, hey, yeah, you know how fun that first Captain America film was because you were trying to make it feel like a 1940s superhero film? Yeah, listen, this is the film where we kind of get real because that's what superhero films are today. I know the truth of what was going on in between those montages. I know all the stuff you were actually doing in there. Like, he was pointing back around at Cap and going, yeah, you're the big, bright, shining example of truth and justice and all that. But I know the messed up stuff that you've done, and Cap doesn't deny it. He's like, yeah, but we did it so everybody could be free. This isn't freedom. There's such good debates going on in this film. I do kind of have a small, not really problem with the film, but like a question though, of Nick Fury knew that S.H.I.E.L.D was being overtaken by Hydra. Like, he reveals he had a whole base and a plan for all this in case this went down. But at the beginning of this film, he's all behind launching these ships. And I keep wondering, was he just acting to be behind it around Captain America so Cap would then oppose it more? Or did he honestly just not know that they were going to do this? Because it feels like if he already knew that S.H.I.E.L.D was being overtaken by Hydra, he would already be suspicious of this. So that's like that is really the only critique I have about this. It's kind of weird Nick Fury's motivations at the beginning of this film when he seems completely behind this program. That's all I got. This film is amazing besides that.
Like, maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he realized just how messed up this was, and he's like, I don't want to deal with, I don't want this anymore.
Oh, don't get me wrong. There's explanations.
Yeah.
There are answers to my questions. The film doesn't give you answers, though, so there's two possible answers to it, and it's kind of like, all right, so which one of these is it? So really, again, that's it. That's my only real complaint with this film. And again, it's not a complaint. It's just more like, well, you could have made that a little bit more clear. Because this is a film in which everything is done so well.
Yes.
Like we said, it's shot incredibly well. Going back and watching all these films again, it's so amazing to me that up until Captain America the First Avenger, every single one of these films was just shot like, yeah, you know, it's a superhero film, just put the camera down and go. Iron Man did some interesting stuff, but, you know, that was about it. It wasn't until the first Captain America film that they started, like, trying to, like, experiment with this stuff. This one, it's shot like an actual movie. Like, it is shot like we're trying to make the best goddamn spy film we possibly can.
Yeah, like, I really like the opening, and it's like...
Oh, with them,
infiltrating the ship and everything. But...
Which, I've seen this several times before, and yet, man, I don't know if I forgot or if I just looked away each time that was happening, but the moment when he ran up to the guy and just kicked him so hard he flew off the ship, I literally went, damn!
And it's like, I kind of want to, like, compare this to, like, Iron Man 3, because, like, both of them are also, both movies,
you can
like...
totally, yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah, both movies, like, discuss, like, serious and realistic issues in politics and everything like that. But the thing is, I really like Winter Soldier more than Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Because I think it's because of that opening. You get to see, like, Captain America do what Captain America does.
Okay.
Because, like, remember, you mentioned, like, in Iron Man 2, is like, I committed world peace, but you never see him.
You never see any of this stuff.
Yeah, but in Winter Soldier, you actually see Captain America in action.
Yes.
So...
there is, yeah, you can totally compare Captain America 2 to Iron Man 3, and Captain America 2 is definitely better, and there are many reasons for that. And again, for anybody who didn't see our video on Iron Man 3, I really like Iron Man 3. I am a big defender of Iron Man 3, but it has several problems, and some of the problems in here are that it's trying to make multiple different types of movies.
Yeah.
Because, like, the big message that it's trying to make about who its villain is, and his motivations, and his whole plan, that's one great movie. The movie about who is Iron Man when he doesn't have the suit on, that's another great movie. Meshing the two of them together doesn't quite fit in here. And then, you know, they throw in there, like, weird little, like, steps in here, like the whole sequence with the kid. Again, I like all the stuff with the kid, but it didn't really serve this movie in any way, shape, or form. So there's a lot like, Iron Man 3 is a bunch of puzzle pieces to really good puzzles, but, you know, they don't all quite fit together. This film, it is one thing. It is one storyline going from point A to point B. That's it. It is a smooth film. So yeah, you can absolutely draw those comparisons, and this one is done so much better. Also, I think that this is a great story of Cap just now being in the modern era. And I dig that Cap, it's not a bunch of, you know, Natasha's making a bunch of old guy jokes at him. Someone has to.
Yeah.
And he pokes fun at himself too when he says things like, well, all the guys in my barbershop quartet are dead. So, but it's not like a fish out of water thing.
No.
It's not him going around like, I don't understand this. At the beginning of this movie, he's talking to Sam Wilson, and he's just like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I need to catch up on, but internet, so helpful. It's like, we don't have a sequence of Captain America at a computer like, that. No, the dude already knows what the internet is, and he's been using it to do research.
And, like, that makes sense, too, because he's a smart guy. So,
Yes.
of course, he'd, like, know how to use the internet.
He's smart. Yeah, exactly. Like, he is a guy who can adapt.
Yeah, and, like, there was that scene where Natasha was hacking the computers, like, shall we play a game? That's a reference to, I've
know.
seen the movie. So it's
Which
like,
was a great, like, callback to Avengers, where there was some fish out war stuff, because everybody was making references, and he was like, I don't know what that is, which, yeah, this was, like, you know, a month after he got out of the ice.
I'm
like,
starting to catch up now, so.
like, now it's been 2 years since he's been back. Yeah, man, the dude has been catching up. Although it's weird to me that he would, like, have seen War Games. Like, I'm like, why is that a movie that you would have watched? But okay, I guess, whatever. I guess someone would have recommended it to you. I love when he takes out the little notepad. This is like the first time that I've ever been able to actually pause and see what's on the notepad of things that he's missed. It's weird to me that one of them is Thai food, because it's like, you've been back for 2 years. How have you not had Thai food? That seems like a real quick solve.
Especially in New York.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he lives, he lives kind of
I guess so.
He's in Washington. Yeah, in the comics he's in New York, and this he's in Washington.
Yeah.
Which makes more sense to me. It just absolutely makes sense. But yeah, so I really like the story of Cap now being here, but it's not a fish out of water in terms of, I don't understand technology. It's a fish out of water in terms of, I don't understand you're willing to give up your freedom just for safety. Which, again, holy crap, big messages in there.
It's like, I fought my entire life to give you freedom, and now you just want to hand it over? Like...
Yeah, and I mean, like, Hydra's, like, whole plan of, like, yeah, we've secretly been making the world a worse place so people would be freaked out enough that they would be willing to exchange their freedom. Holy crap, that's really disturbing. So, yeah, I think that, which, by the way, that's another thing that I gotta point out about this film. This is a film that has, like, 4 or 5 villains in there, and what is one of the biggest problems with superhero films? They overload you with villains. This movie knows how to use the goddamn villains. They realize, don't give all the villains equal screen time. There's one guy at the top. It's Pierce. He's the bad guy at the top, which... One of the things that makes the twist in here so great is that Pierce isn't really anybody from the comics. He is like one random S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who is a good guy in the comics. So yeah, and he's like so forgettable and like nobody knows him. So it's like, yeah, it's just a random throwaway role. What? But yeah, you've got in there. You've got Artem Zola, but Artem Zola was never the guy who's like, I will fight you, Captain America. He's like, I'm the scientist.
Yeah.
And, like, and here he pops up as the mad scientist. And in the comics, he has put his brain into like a robot body, and the robot body, his head is the entire chest, and there's no head up here. There's just a tiny camera on top. So when you see him in the lab, and it's just a big camera with his face on there, and a tiny camera on top, it's like, that's the smartest way you could have adapted this goofy ass looking character.
It's like, you point, it's like, this movie does have several villains, but they all fill certain roles.
Exactly, because you've also got Crossbones in there, but Crossbones is not the leader. Crossbones is a follower. Crossbones is a soldier. What is he in here? He's the soldier. And then you've also got Batroc the Leaper in here. And Batroc is not a major threat. He's kind of the fun guy for Cap to fight in his comics. And he's in here as the guy Cap fights at the beginning of the film to show what he can do. And that's something I've been saying for years. Superhero films need to do more of. If you want to include more villains in your films, just give us some random throwaway villain at the beginning of the film that it opens up with our hero fighting, just to kind of show this is the cool stuff that our hero can do. Like, Spider-Man is the perfect example, because Spider-Man has a whole, like, rogues gallery of D-list who cares villains. Like, you don't need to make the Shocker and Boomerang and all these other guys, like, major A-class villains that he fights in his own film. Make them the guy he webs up at the beginning of the film, just kind of show, like, how Spidey operates on a day-to-day basis. That's what they did with Batroc in here.
Yeah.
These are the missions that Cap has been going on.
You gotta build up to the big villain.
Yeah, exactly. And it also, for, like, a comic book fan out there, when you see like him like doing the random mission against this guy at the beginning of the film, it gives you that feeling of your head like he's probably been doing this against a lot of guys. Like he probably does have his whole rogues gallery that he's fought. They're just all off camera somewhere. It's like, that's fine. That's totally cool. I just realized they did actually put Shocker in Spider-Man. But again, they used him correctly. He was not the main villain. He was the henchman of the guy. So, okay. But that's another film. So yeah, all the villains in here are handled incredibly well. I also absolutely love all the heroes in here. This is easily the best Black Widow we've gotten in any of these movies. So best Black Widow, best Nick Fury, I'll say that too. Because he does have his whole plan. He gets the action sequence in there. You see that he's scheming and he's tricking people left and right. It's like, yeah, that's what Nick Fury is supposed to do. I also really dig at the end of this that when Nick Fury's like, all right, here's my plan of how we're going to take S.H.I.E.L.D. back, and Cap is like, no more lying, no more tricks, no more manipulating, no more of this, I have a plan on top of a plan on top of a plan. It's done. We're taking everything down, because he like saw like the threat that S.H.I.E.L.D. could become and realized, yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. cannot exist. Like something that powerful, if the villains can take it over without anybody realizing it, yeah, man, it shouldn't exist. Like, I just love that Nick Fury was looking around at everyone like, no, seriously, we're gonna do my plan because I'm Nick Fury, right? And everyone's like, nah, man.
Yeah, it's like, basically it's like pulling weeds. You have to get the roots, otherwise they'll keep growing back.
Yeah. But again, it speaks a lot to Nick Fury that Nick Fury was just like, no, I've got a plan for this. And Cap was just like, your plans have fucked everything up, and you're just going to try and get in control again. Nobody's in control now. It's done. It's over with. And I was like, I just love that moment of Cap really standing up to Nick Fury in there. Also, I gotta talk about him because I love the Falcon. Sam Wilson is in this film. They did the Falcon right. Don't get me wrong, he's not really anything in here like he is in the comics. I mean, personality-wise, he is like he is in the comics. But I've always said that's the only thing that matters. Mm-hmm. You can change their origin, you can change their job, you can change their look, you can change their powers even. If you just match the personality of them, you nailed it. That's all I need, and I think that they absolutely nailed him in here. And I dig seeing them team up. I dig seeing how well they work together, seeing them like fly in, and I dig seeing like just the relationship that they have. He's not in here a lot at the beginning of the film, but he's in here enough, and you get the connection that he has with Cap in there enough. Mm-hmm. Just from their few exchanges that you could buy it when he shows up at this guy's front door and says, yeah, we're on the run and we need some help. And he's like, come in, I just made breakfast. It's like... I buy this completely. I totally buy that. And also, just another thing, any other film, like, we know this all comes down to Cap versus the Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. We know it has to. That's how this has to end. So even though Falcon is in there and he is helping out and he is taking out one of the ships as well, he's doing his job in there, you know he can't fight the Winter Soldier because this has to come down to Cap versus the Winter Soldier. So yeah, when he takes Falcon's wings off and he falls down and he's like, yeah, Cap, I'm sorry. I'm out. I can't do anything else. I was like, yeah, that's how this had to be. And any other film would have had it in there. But then Maria Hill gets on the phone and it's just like, yeah, Crossbones is on his way to take out all the senators. He's like, on my way. And he just gets up, rips that vest off, and starts running. I was like, any other film would have gone, yeah, you did your part, now you're out, you're gone. And this one was like, nah, he's still a hero, and there's still other villains in this film. I dug that, and God, this film, the fight scenes are shot so damn well.
Yeah, it's like, you've been complaining how, like, the hand-to-hand combat in the previous movies have been really bad. But
and the opening of this film has a little bit of that. It has a little bit of that, I will say.
Yeah, it's like, but like, this movie, it pretty much is all hand-to-hand combat.
Yes.
So it's good to know that they actually like improved that.
It absolutely did. There's still some of those quick cuts, but they kept Cap's helmet on a whole lot more so that way the stunt actor could be in there. Batroc is an actual MMA fighter, so they didn't need a stunt actor for that. So they were able to show off some cool stuff with that. The special effects stuff in there of Falcon flying around with the jets, like that's really cool action scenes in there as well. But even the hand-to-hand stuff, like I'm just thinking about when he goes up there to fight Rumlow, when he goes to fight Crossbones, and they go in there for that big charge and like they stop an inch from each other's face because it then cuts to the next scene. It makes me think of like, say, when the Hulk did that, of the Hulk like kicking, what was his name? I want to say Eli Roth for a minute there. Tim Roth, I think his name is. Emil Blonsky. When it cuts a second before he actually kicks him, and then just cuts to everyone's reactions, I was like, okay, that's not bad, but you know, it kind of looks a little bit jarring, a quick cut like that. Here, that quick cut was like, oh, some epic stuff is about to go down. Like, it had me excited because, yeah, there's other stuff that we gotta get to right now, but it lets me know your fight is awesome that's happening off screen. But there's also like small things in the way that they shoot this. Like, when, the Winter Soldier punches Cap's shield, there is a real quick zoom in, zoom out at that moment as they make like a sound effect to it as well. Mm-hmm. It creates that feeling like they just created a sonic boom with that punch. Like, it creates that feeling of they just rattled the camera with that punch. Yeah, it's really small, subtle stuff like that that makes every punch seem so much bigger. But yeah, this is easily the best shot fight scenes that we've seen so far. When it gets up to Civil War, yeah, that's a lot of special effects, but it's still the exact same directors on that film, and you can tell, even when they're dealing with big special effects, they know what they're doing. They know how to do all these action scenes, which has me really excited for Infinity War because they're directing that. But yeah, the combat in here is great. We do have to talk, of course, about Winter Soldier and Bucky himself. I, of course, knew the twist when we saw the film. You didn't, and I remember asking you afterwards, like, so what did you think? And you were like, oh, so that's what happened to him. So I don't know if it really like hit you that much, like if it was too telegraphed or anything, or you didn't really care about Bucky all that much.
I was like, I guess I didn't really care for him that much in the first movie, the first time I watched Captain America, but like watching it again, it's like, oh, these two really were like good friends, and now Captain America has seen like his friend being brainwashed and trying to kill him.
It's a lot more disturbing the second time around that I watched this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, there's literally a moment where Captain America's just like down, just like traumatized, like trying to like comprehend what just happened, just seeing Bucky's face and everything, so it's like...
Yeah, again, when we watch this in theaters, we're watching it with that crowd that's like, yeah, Marvel films, alright, hooray! When we're watching it at home and we have the more critical eye, and like the dramatic moments seem so much bigger because of that, yeah, man, Cap gets messed up by this. And like, just seeing like the montage of like Bucky being turned into the Winter Soldier, it's a horror film in that moment. Let me see, but also I love just the music that they use for him.
Oh, yeah.
It is Terminator-esque. Like, it is just an angry machine eating itself, is what that music is.
Yeah, it's like every time, like, he pops up...
It's just kind of what Winter Soldier is.
Like, every time he pops up, it's like, you can hear, like, that shrill, like, so it's like, it's like, oh...
He's coming. Yeah, oh, man, he is so, like, everything they do to shoot this guy is so good. Like, even just like this air of mystery that he has as he's just always walking everywhere. Like, I don't think we ever even really see him like run anywhere. Like, it is kind of like a horror movie villain, like Jason or somebody. Because Jason never runs, he just pops up where you are. Like, Winter Soldier doesn't have to run. He's coming for you. Yeah, anytime that he is like looking for someone, he's just walking around and like listening for them. It is so creepy the way that they shot him. So many people, they talk about how Marvel doesn't have good villains, and I'm just like, God damn, man, this one had like 5 in there, and they were all good. So yeah, anything else we want to say about this? This has just been, like I said, there's really no complaints I have about this film. It's so damn good. And also, even though I have said Avengers is my personal favorite Marvel film, speaking as like a fan of just big superheroes being superheroes, and as an old school Avengers fan who really just wanted to see like the Avengers being the Avengers on screen, yeah, it is absolutely my favorite personal film. But speaking objectively, just speaking in terms of like pure quality of a film, I'd say this is probably the best made film. I would have to give it that.
So like, one thing I want to add is like, I like the interaction between Captain America and Natasha.
Yeah.
So they were good together.
Everybody's interactions in here are really good.
Pretty much, yeah.
Everybody, like, because also Sam Wilson and Captain America's interactions are great. Like, that opening scene makes you fall in love with Sam Wilson right there on the spot.
Yeah, but it's like, in the previous movies, like, you didn't really get too much interaction with, like...
Which we even talked about that in the Captain America film. It's that in the first Captain America film, the side characters are so much better in that first one than they are in any of the other Marvel films in Phase 1. Like, you get so much more personality from every single side character, but then you watch this and it's like, yeah, but you didn't really get a lot on each of them. Like, the Howling Commandos are in there, just kind of be the Howling Commandos, just kind of be like, yeah, we're soldiers, we're gonna team up with Cap to go and do stuff, but you never really get much on any of them. Here, there's fewer characters, but they're all so good. Yeah, they nailed every single thing that they attempted in this film. I think it is an absolute success. Also, let's just talk about how freaking bold of Marvel it was to come in here and go, we've established this government agency, S.H.I.E.L.D., and S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be the one that control all the superheroes. They're going to be the ones in charge of all this. They're going to be the ones that tie every movie together. They're going to be the ones that get the Avengers together. They're going to be the ones that oversee everything. Guess what? They've been the bad guys this entire time. Face! It's... How freaking bold of that is... sorry. How insane is it for Marvel to do something like that? That's incredible. I remember... Like, I went into this film thinking, yeah, but I know the twist with Winter Soldier, it's not really going to affect me. Which I will say, I saw this in at a critic screen when it came out, and there was a lot of other like comic booky guys there, so pretty much everybody also knew the twist. But when it was revealed, there was one little kid in the back who just went, like you could hear his gasp, and you could tell it was a little kid. So I was like, that kid's mind is blown right now. But I also remember the Arnim Zola scene in which he is explaining Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. I remember feeling my stomach sink. Like, again, comparing this to Iron Man 3, I like the twist with the Mandarin in there because it did make me feel like I had been knocked on my ass. Like, I was on the ring floor staring up at the lights like, what just happened? And I think, man, that's what you were supposed to feel on that. But this one, it is far more of a slow burn.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that moment is wham bam, what? And your brain just has to catch up with what's happening. It has to process it. Here, as it's being explained, you can feel yourself just slowly sinking into your chair. Just, yeah, you feel yourself just collapsing.
Like that scene in Get Out. Like
I didn't want to say it, but that's exactly what I thought. I was like, yeah, Artem's almost sent us all to the sunken place because it's just like, yeah, you feel yourself sinking into like, no. Ooh, man. Yeah, so, goddamn, it's really, I always liked this film. I always did. I always thought it was one of the better Marvel films. But man, just watching it here again.
It's like, and you like bring up a point. It's like this movie is about like Captain America living in the modern day, and I think another thing that he has to learn is that modern day nothing is in black and white.
Yes, that is a huge part of this.
Yes, because in World War II, you knew what the enemies were. They were the Nazis. It was Hydra. You got to beat them up, and you're done. You save the day. But now it's like, oh, we can't even trust our own friends. Like
the bad guys are the good guys. It's the same thing. It's like, yeah, man. And like the bad guys have twisted the world around to the point where people kind of want the bad guys. Like, yeah, man, this is huge for Cap to deal with. It is kind of a shame that, like, you know, the fallout for this, you watch on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but like, shouldn't any of this have been like mentioned in the other Marvel movies? Like, I think they mentioned it in Civil War, because I think that's part of, like, Cap's argument for, like, why they shouldn't be signing all these accords, but it's like, yeah, it feels like some of the other films, like, it feels like in Avengers, they really should have mentioned this in Avengers too, and I don't really remember them doing that. In fact, it opens with them having to stop more Hydra agents, and like, should Cap have like mentioned like, yeah, okay, it was maybe they do. It's been a while since I've seen it, and we are going to watch it like 2 movies from now. But yeah, so if you want to see us when we talk about Age of Ultron, click that subscribe button. Make sure that you come back next time. We are almost done. We only got 3 more of these to do before we are all caught up, and we have now reviewed every Marvel film. So thank you guys. Come back next time. Bye.
Bye.